All right, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to Here's the Thing at the End of the Day, football talk. I'm with Ricky, and we are sponsored by Heroes because they don't always wear capes. So today, or for this segment, we're just gonna be talking about the Cam Newton situation and the uh, Terrell Pryor flipping off the crowd, racism thing. And what was
Oh,
the
and
other
also,
thing about?
we're talking about Nick Folk and how much he
Oh
sucks as a kicker, and
yeah.
alongside the Patriots not playing well.
Okay. All right. So, do you want to start with the Nick Folk thing?
Yeah, sure. By the way, we got Nitro Freak in the building. He asked, "What Hank? What happened to your videos?"
Uh, Wait, hold on. I need to. What happened to my videos?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Honestly, view on my watch. Hold on, let me get to the control room so I can actually see the actual comments. But that's a really good question. I just decided to start going another route, kind of like a more mature route for me. Uh, Obviously, making like the dailies videos was like that was fun for a while, but I feel like I'm a little bit older and I I don't really have as much time to like commit to like worrying about how my like opponents are doing with the whole like hate weeks thing, making multiple videos a week, and I just don't really have time for that. And this gives me like a way to like a better way to interact with my audience, and obviously with people like Ricky, who I probably would never have interacted with without stuff like that. But
Hmm.
also like my friends Josh and DJ, they always wanted to do like something like this, and I just decided to just because it's just like a natural progression, and of course I mean, some people watched my video. What was it? My video on Colin Cowherd.
Oh yeah.
Like I like to do that sometimes, but I don't know. I'm just more of an informational guy. I don't really have time for the drama. Like I don't really have as much time for the drama, you know.
Nerd.
Yeah. So let's discuss the whole. And I hope that's enough information. Go watch Nitro Freak. He makes pretty good Eagles videos if anyone's out there. So
Alrighty.
um, let's talk about the whole Nick Folk thing. Uh,
Okay, so as a brief synopsis, basically, last week, not the Patriots game, but the Giants game. Basically, Nick Folk missed. I believe he missed two field goals, but the third field goal he made to win the game, and it um nearly went wide left or barely left.
hmm,
So he got lucky in that game. But against the Patriots, he missed three field goals, and I believe it was like one was from 50, one was from 40, and then one was from 30. I could be wrong. I'm not entirely.
the one against the Patriots.
Yeah,
The first one he wasn't gonna make. The first one was like a
obviously, yeah.
was a 56 yarder. It wasn't in his range. It was in the wind. He wasn't gonna make that. That was like a prayer. That was like a prayer kick.
Obviously, yeah. I give him a grain of salt for that one. Like I
Yeah,
take that with a grain of
where
salt.
you're thinking where either he's gonna make the field goal, he's going to miss it, or the return man is going to run and score a touchdown with it. So you're
Yeah.
better
So let's.
off
Yeah.
missing it. That's a good miss because it's out of his range.
I mean, and going into halftime, the Buccaneers were in a one possession. They were down by 6 points. So I mean, worst case scenario, you just cut the deficit to three, or you're just still in a one possession game. Now, let's go fast forward into the game, and you end up having the situation where Nick Folk, I believe he misses. Was it the 40 yarder? It was like a 40 yarder, and that one was like a wide left.
Yeah. No, it
I
was
don't remember.
it was a 30. It was a 31 yarder.
Okay, I knew there was a 40 and a 30. I just didn't know which came first.
I'm not sure, but the 31 yarder came later in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that was before their touchdown drive.
Let me check. Yeah, let me check. Nick
I don't know how many
Bulk.
he missed, but I do know he
I
missed.
could check real quick. Give me 1 second. Okay, so the first one was 56 yards,
Mm,
and the next one was 49 yards.
yeah,
The third one,
was
30,
31.
31, yeah.
Which, I mean, he was on the left hash, so that one's a little bit tougher. But he missed it. The issue was he missed it left.
And I will say this, just imagine if he makes at least one of those field goals, right? And I'm not saying the first two are gimmies either. I mean, they're like nearly 50 yarders, but let's say he makes that 31 yarder
Mhm.
on that game. They were at the 20-yard
I'm
line.
not gonna say that they would have won that game.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just
Like
saying, like there was a possibility.
hindsight, in hindsight, they wouldn't. They still might not have won the game because that totally changed the Patriots' strategy because they also had a chance to kick a field goal, but they elected to punt instead because they knew that the Buccaneers. They had a feeling the Buccaneers weren't going to score. If the Buccaneers kick that field goal, the Patriots are kicking a field goal as well, and they're probably
Yeah. So, yeah, that is true. But I will say this: what kind of irks me about this Patriots team is the fact that, and I'm not trying to say that they should be blowing people out left and right.
mm,
I think that their defense actually showed up a bit more in
yeah,
terms of, but I mean, like you're still you win a what was it, like it came down to the last play and the Bucks were at the 20-yard line of the
yeah.
Patriots, so it was like literally a 50-50 shot. Well, I'm not sure if those would be the odds, but like basically like it was a gamble of whether or not they were going to win.
Yeah.
So
The
I
way
mean,
I see it is a win is a win.
yeah,
You know, like you're in Tampa, you're playing against a team that's supposed to be competing in this league, and I mean, they probably should have beat them by more points, but they didn't, but
it is
they still
true. Yeah.
have that 3-2 record on the stat sheet with a chance to be tied for first place in the division, pending what Buffalo does and what the Jets do by the end of the week.
Yeah, so I
I
mean,
see it.
but my thing is that like I knew the Patriots were bound for a rebound. It's just normally when they rebounded, like
Yeah,
before it was like they would just crush whoever was in their way. In this case, like, and I understand a win's a win, so I'm not taking anything away. But if I'm the Patriots, I'm still a bit concerned because like if you pay attention to their past couple games, they've given up a lot of points, and I believe in the last three games, they were one possession games. There was one they won on a last game winning drive, another one where they lost on a game winning drive
Mhm.
against the Panthers at home. And in this case, they barely, no, I wouldn't say barely won, but they won, and the Buccaneers had a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm still kind of concerned with the
The other,
Patriots, but I'm not like
the other issue was the fact that Tampa had a horrible game plan coming into that game. Their game
Mhm.
plan was to isolate Deshaun Jackson, and like uh, the issue was the fact that Deshaun Jackson was barely open during the game, and
Mhm.
and Jameis was throwing the ball really poorly to Deshaun Jackson. Like if you watch the game, you remember he
Oh
had
yeah.
Jackson. Deshaun Jackson was running a streak route, and the cornerback was about a step behind him, and
If
Jameis.
he hits them, that's a touchdown.
Yeah, but the issue was Jameis underthrew him, and the safety
Mhm.
was there, and like the cornerback could have caught the ball, but the safety had a chance, but he dropped it. But it was a botch game by Jameis Winston. That last play where they could have won it at the very end,
Oh, that was a horrible
that
decision.
was a horrible throw, and it's not like he had a lot of pressure in his face. It was the fact that like
Why would you throw it to a rookie like OJ?
he threw the ball. Well, no, it's not just that, but he threw the
Well,
ball.
I don't. Yeah, yeah. I'm not trying to. What?
The guy's head wasn't even turned around, and he threw it short of the goal line. You want to throw that ball needs to be thrown in the end zone. because you
Yeah, exactly.
don't have a chance to stop the clock again. That throw needs to be straight in the end zone. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. Like, oh no, boo hoo, go
Oh
home.
yeah, and also, and speaking of clock management, the fact that they had that 10-second runoff killed them. Because imagine, let's say they're at the 20 and they have and they get the 10. Say hypothetically they manage to keep those 10 seconds, right? Now now they have at least a player or two or possibly three to go work.
I was actually surprised they didn't spike the ball instead, which that would have been
That is, yeah.
because they wouldn't have had you would have to sacrifice the down. All you would have to do was sacrifice the down. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, but you would have those 30, you would have those 45 some odd seconds still on the clock. But back to like the kicking situation, like last year or the last time Nick Folk played, he was actually a decent kicker for the New York Jets. You know, so I'm not exactly sure that this is an issue with Nick Folk. Like, obviously his confidence is down, and the worst thing for both a kicker and a quarterback is that their confidence is down. But you're looking at this in a situation where they had Robert Aguayo, who was one of the best kickers in college football history, one of the most accurate, one of the best long kickers. And by the way, being a kicker in college football is actually a lot harder than being a kicker in the NFL.
Oh yeah,
because
the way, yeah,
because the hash marks are wider apart. Like, you have a more direct shot at a kick. Like the hash marks in the NFL are basically lined up with the goalposts, you know. So
yeah, Hank, I was hoping Tony Romo was gonna mention the. I'm not sure if you remember this, like during his rookie year. Yeah, it was his rookie year, the 2007 season, in that Buffalo game where
that wasn't his rookie year.
That was really.
Tony Romo was an undrafted free agent in 2003.
No,
2007.
No, not Tony Romo. I'm talking about Nick Folk. No, Nick Folk.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about?
I thought you meant Tony Romo.
No, I know about that. No, Tony Romo, that was the second year to start. But the point I'm trying to make is like he should have. I was hoping he was gonna mention it, but like, I think that's, and I'm not trying to get on like, because I tell people this, like, that's the cost of, you can't win a game off of field goals always.
Yeah, but
at
the same time, if you have a great field goal kicker, you can do great like you can.
Oh yeah, I'm not trying to, yeah.
But the thing is, they draft Robert Aguayo, and Robert Aguayo comes into the NFL. He looks like dog crap. And right now they're trying to possibly re-sign Robert Aguayo. And and it's like, it might be something down there in Tampa, who knows? But
I don't know. I mean,
yeah, it's like they can't get it right at the kicking position. They almost lost that game against the Giants because of the kicking. It's like absurd. That, like, their whole staff has got to be in like the twilight zone. And the thing is, like, the Eagles. I'm not saying that Jake Elliott is an amazing kicker.
Get his number retired.
There was absolutely no like thought in my mind that he was ever going to make that field goal. But like, you can find kickers off the street and they can kick a 30-yard field goal. Like, kicker is one of those.
Wasn't David Akers undrafted for you guys?
He was cut by the Redskins.
I know, like, he bounced around before he landed with you guys, but the point I'm trying to make is you guys got him off the street in essence.
Also, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are idiots for drafting a kicker in the first place. I never understood that draft pick. I understand he's a great kicker, but you're wasting a spot on a kicker.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't have been surprised if Robert Aguayo went undrafted.
Yeah, a kicker is a kicker, like a fullback, is a player, a fullback, a long snapper, a punter. Those are centers go undrafted, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, non-skill position special teams players go undrafted. Like you
They
don't
should have.
draft pick on one of those positions because you can find one on the street. Okay, you can try one out in tryouts. Like teams
Oh
try
yeah.
3 kickers, 3 punters in off season, preseason.
Hmm.
It's just pointless to me. I don't understand what's going on with him. Maybe it's he doesn't have chemistry with the long snapper and the holder. Who knows? But those kicks are those missed kicks have been his fault.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
what was it? The special teams guru during the game pointed it out too. He was like, I think it was Jay Feely. He was like, that was horrible kicking mechanics on the part of Nick Folk.
Sign me.
Right?
No. All right. Let's move. I want to move on to the whole Cam Newton thing.
Okay.
Okay. First, I need to actually find the exact quote, so I'm not like. Give me 1 second, so that I can What was it? Hold up. I'm searching it on my beautiful computer. Okay, there it is. That's the quote. So, for those that don't know, Cam Newton, he was in a press conference, and there was a female reporter. He was asking him about like a question about running routes or whatever, and like certain people running certain routes, and then Cam Newton makes the remark, "It's funny to hear a female talk about routes in a very,
Sorry about that.
What did you say?"
Looking at a video. Keep going. I
Okay.
clicked on a video and I didn't think it was. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Anywho, so basically, he says it in this very nonchalant, very sarcastic way. But the thing is that everyone now, I'm not saying everyone is, but like people are interpreting him as, saying it was a sexist comment, which take it as you may. I mean, me personally, like, I think this is a very big non-issue, or this is a big non-issue. It's like a non-issue, but in reality, Cam Newton, he is a smart aleck. Of course, he kind of does. I mean, for God's sake, he wears the most weirdest stuff.
He
So I
shouldn't
mean,
apologizing to women for those comments. He should apologize to his mother for dressing like that.
exactly, exactly.
Honestly,
No, but
he kind of dresses like a 70-year-old lady sometimes. Have you noticed that?
yeah, I know.
What is it? The loose, like the loose, like the loose, like the loose chiffon fabric.
But I want to bring this up. He did apologize for the comments he made. So, and I think that the issue is it's something that's blown out of proportion. But I will say this: Cam Newton, he needs to know better. I mean, obviously, when you say something like that, people aren't going to take it kindly.
I don't.
So I mean,
I think that when he said it, he like Kelly obviously doesn't. She doesn't agree with me on this point, which I can understand because she is a woman. But and there's no issue with that. Like I don't have an issue with women. She probably wouldn't be dating me if I had issues with women. EDP. Anyway.
all right, EDP.
So she was just like, that's just not something you should say. Like women do have knowledge about sports. I mean, in some instances, Kelly knows more about football than I do. Like she corrects me on stuff all the time. I correct her on stuff all the time. But the issue is that when I correct her, she'll be like,
and then she kills you.
She'll be like, "Shut up, go away." Like, but the way I saw it is, it was something that he shouldn't have said. He's an idiot. He is an idiot for saying it. You as a football as a public figure, you need to have more awareness than that. Like I understand that it was like a joke, and he thought that like,
yeah, like the connotation.
Why is a woman asking me about routes? You should ask me what I'm wearing. But like, it is kind of blown out of proportion, and
I want to bring up.
I do question the sincerity of his apology because, like, he did say a lot of good things, and he said a lot of like things that he didn't have to say. Like his apology kind of came off as, "I'm sorry I hurt your feelings,"
Yeah.
Instead of like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I even made my comments. I regret them. I shouldn't have said them. And uh, I don't. He should have said that I don't want to be somebody who makes those comments that hurt people's feelings.
Yeah.
He should have said. He shouldn't have been like. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I hurt you. Oh,
That's what he's not respecting women.
Because at one point it was going off good, and then he kind of like Donald Trumped himself, where he was like, those people are awful, but people on the other side are awful too, like kind of like that,
No, but I want to also bring up a point, and this doesn't have to necessarily deal with Cam Newton's situation, but in general, I kind of find it funny how there are people now that like, and I like, okay, this is what I find funny. So like with Molly Karam, and I think I talked about this, but I don't know. So when she made the comments about Zeke, and I know this is a completely different situation, but I'm gonna get to a point.
Who is she again?
She's Molly Karam for the First Take. She's the moderator. So the point I'm trying to make. Okay, so
oh, okay, yeah, I recognize her.
Okay. So anyhow,
hold up before you go on. What's really weird is the girl, her and the girl from Undisputed. They like look very similar, aren't they? Like both like post Undisputed. Aren't they both like?
I think Molly Karam's like Middle Eastern or white, and Joy Taylor's like.
And the other girl, like, okay, she's like white, but she's like, she might be like Native American. I don't know.
She's half African American. Whatever. Anywho, so can I get to my point? Okay. So as I was saying, basically she makes comments about Zeke, and basically like I disagreed with her, but I disagreed with her respectfully. Basically, she was saying how like, well, Zeke apparently did this, so people are just gonna rep his jersey once he comes back from a suspension, assuming that he does get suspended, and no one's gonna care about what actually. And then first, I'm like, well, the thing didn't actually happen; it was a completely fabricated event. Me personally think, but then you have people saying, oh, you're just there for eye candy. You don't have a right to speak or whatever. It's like, dude, come on. It's like I could care. Like, look.
It kind of also reminds me of what's her face, who does a lot of college football stuff for ESPN, and she was doing the play-by-play for that Monday Night Football game between the Chargers and the Broncos, and a lot of negative things to say about her. Me personally, I don't really care. It's a football game. We already have to listen to Joe Biden 3 or 4 times.
We don't have.
If you're a Cowboys fan, you have to listen to them like 8 or 9 times a year.
I know, like it's so.
Collinsworth every Sunday night football and some Thursday night football games.
Or
Rex Ryan was not particularly that great either.
Or we have to watch baseball.
We have to listen to John Gruden and his grinders. So to me, this was kind of a non-issue that people just are like, oh, I can't believe football's going this way. Oh, I can't believe women are doing this. And, she sounds like Bart Simpson from The Simpsons. And it's like, okay, then the fucking volume. I'm sorry, excuse my French, but turn off the volume.
Like seriously, like they have a right to comment too. And then, of course, you're going to have the person.
They do have a right to comment. That is true. It's just so mundane, She only making one football game a year. Okay, you can take one football game, or if you live in the Denver area or something like that, change it to like the radio station while you're watching the game.
Yeah, that reminds me of the whole, and this is funny. The whole, and I don't want to get too much into a rant, but the whole stay in your lane crap's got to stop. It's so old. It's outdated.
Yeah,
it's just. It's like, guys, come on. It's so stupid. The dude's, like, LeVar Ball is playing his situation perfectly. Act like a complete idiot and basically may be famous. That's how it works nowadays. Basically, I could say dumb crap and say like women are the dumbest thing ever, but and I don't believe that actually. Just so you know. And guess what? People are gonna storm me, and I get all the publicity because I
Women
say dumb crap and
are the worst thing since my son.
exactly. See, now everybody knows. Okay, so let's move on to the whole Terrell Pryor situation. So you can explain this because I just heard about this.
So from what I know, okay, Terrell Pryor, I think it's the game ends, and I
Okay, let me
think
see.
going straight to the locker room, and a sorry, he like growled. So so apparently two fans from the stands came out and they called him the hard R N word, like Nigger. I'm not gonna repeat the word.
You can't say that. We're gonna get demonetized.
I'm not gonna repeat it because I think it's a disgusting word.
Oh yeah.
But basically he gives them the middle finger and he like walks to the locker room, and of course like they caught that on video, and they asked him, yeah, why did you flip a fan off? And he said, well, because they called me the N-word. And it started this whole thing of like, and then it started this whole thing by the Washington Redskins about whether racism is acceptable in the National Football League. And I kind of thought it was ironic because the Washington Redskins are called the Redskins. Now, I don't really believe that their name is like 100% a racist name. Of course, like it's not. Like their name
And all
is kind of in line with like the word Oriental or something.
no, dude. It would be like if you call it like here's a comparison. The Washington Redskins is like if there was a team called the San Diego Wetbacks. It's legitimately the same. It's near in essence the same thing
That's
in
true.
terms of like yeah.
Yeah, but it would be like I feel like it's like calling an Asian person like an Oriental. That's how I would perceive it.
So this was the post game. So I want to read his comments because he posted something on Instagram. So this is what he said: being called a N word several times to the point where an NFL employee had to step between me. Had to step to me and stand by me the whole game from second quarter on is the exact reason why guys are kneeling during the anthem. I choose not to kneel because as a team we've decided to be one and stand. But as I walked in the tunnel, hearing someone call me an N word and say F you to me flicking the person off is more deserving. I do apologize to my teammates and the organization, but at some point you keep calling us the N word, we're going to start acting up. Hashtag straight like that 100. Now, I want to bring up another point, and this is what I find is really funny. People get ticked off about people kneeling for the anthem, but I've seen people like not bring issue to this in the same light, like in the same spotlight
Yeah.
compared to that. And I think that that's sad because you can clearly see, and I'm not trying to say like,
Mm.
I'm not trying to say like, oh, well, X is more important. Let me tell you something. Racism is always going to exist. There is no way it is never not going to exist,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Unless like
we are one.
that South Park episode comes to like fruition where like
Where Jersey oh.
all the people from the future are like the same tint of like tan, and they all speak the
Yeah.
language of like Chinese, English, and like African cliques.
Okay, so any but the thing I'm trying to make is as a point,
Mm.
if you take issue to people kneeling during the national anthem and not to this, you're a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I do not know. And people are gonna be like, well, why don't you take issue to those kneeling during the anthem, but you take issue to this? So you're a hypocrite. No, because the fact is there's a difference between exercising your rights as an American citizen and exercising hate speech. This is in this instance with Terrell Pryor and this fan, this is hate speech and him inciting it.
Yeah.
That the whole kneeling during the anthem is a right that anybody can participate in.
Right.
I mean, I could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it once. I'm not gonna deny it.
Yeah.
I had my reasons.
Yeah. But what I will say is that I I will agree with you that that language is language that in the 21st century right now that nobody should be saying any type of racial slur in order to incite racism.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, we are so evolved that we should not be doing that. Um, and I don't agree with those fans. There was like a controversy. There was like apparently some investigation where they were like, there's no evidence that these fans ever existed, but like apparently someone was like, oh yeah, they did. We saw it or something like that. So there's like a controversy over that. But I'm more over going after Terrell Pryor as a professional. Okay. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with what they said. I don't like what they said. I don't think that they should be allowed to say what they said. I don't think that
Mm-hmm.
we should be we're adults. We shouldn't be doing stuff like that. Like act your age, not your shoe size. But as a professional in the public eye, right? What he
Yeah.
did was he made himself he made himself look like the idiot by showing a poor reaction to it. Like
Oh,
the
exactly. I completely agree with you.
great thing and the reason why Martin Luther King Jr. and the peaceful protesters that that followed him were successful in helping blacks and people who are non racial and ethnic minorities um, go to the beginnings of uh, becoming equal in society. It was because they didn't react. They did not fight back. Like you had people boycott. You had people sitting in buses, and you had the buses getting completely vandalized with them inside of it, and they didn't do anything about it. You had walkouts. You had sit-ins. It was the and they didn't do they did not do anything or say anything that was going to hurt their cause and make things worse for them because they knew
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
they're currently unequal in society. If the media shows them doing anything that they shouldn't be doing, any type of violence towards anybody who's against them, then automatically their cause is illegitimate. Nobody's gonna follow their cause because it's gonna put in their mindset that okay, yeah, blacks in the United States, African Americans in the United States, they're not ready for equality, and this is why. And as a professional, okay, I'm a Jewish American, all right. If I
Uh-huh.
if I have and by the way, I'm not sure if the word kike is as
What the
um
heck is? I've never heard that. So
kike is like a
not a.
it's like a racial ethnic uh denigration. I think that's what it's called against like Jewish people.
Oh, okay. I just looked it up. I just wanted to.
So if anyone were to call like, and I've actually had a student before call me that, and
Oh wow.
this was like when I was a student teacher. But if that ever happened and anyone ever called me that as student and I gave that student the finger, then I'm fired straight there on the spot.
Oh yeah. I.
There's no
Mm-hmm.
there is absolutely no way that what I did is not getting out and going straight to the principal. Even if I suspended or expelled that student for doing that to me, for saying that to me, they would probably get suspended for 2, maybe 3 days, okay, and they'd be back. I would be gone. I would be gone, and I'd probably never teach again. Okay, it was
Yeah, and like.
the sentence of my
Yeah.
career. So, as a professional, you need to. You don't need to do anything. But my advice is to walk away from those situations and use it as ammunition for your cause, which obviously if that's why, like, people are kneeling because people are saying and are making racial slurs and obviously getting away with it,
Uh-huh.
that's that's your cause.
Like,
But by flipping off the crowd because of that, you are you are making your cause illegitimate because people are going to be like people are going to be more likely to do it because they consider you to be a degenerate, even
yeah, I
though
want to bring up.
those people who are doing it are complete degenerates themselves.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah,
Absolutely no I have no sympathy for anybody who goes around using those words.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I want to bring up a point real quick because this is very key. Like you as a Jewish American, for those that don't know, I'm a Puerto Rican American. My grandmother's from Puerto Rico. My father was born here, and I was born here as well. But no, but the point I'm trying to make is that, and I want to make this clear. So on Facebook, I made this comment, and if, for those that don't know, Puerto Rico just got devastated by this earthquake. Okay. Um, and I'm extremely upset with what's going on with the current administration, considering that I have family that are living there, and I'm extremely concerned for them. I mean, we had to donate some money so that we can help supply them for the time being. So I made the comment, hey, Donald, rather than typing with your small hands and tweets about NFL players, maybe you should focus on saving the 3.4 million American citizens that are in Puerto Rico and are need, and that are needing that need dire help. Just a thought. So I post that, okay, and basically there is a guy who's also Puerto Rican, and he comments and puts, I love the sound. He puts a GIF, and it's, or not a GIF, excuse me, a picture. It says, I love the sound of liberals crying in the morning.
Mm,
He's Puerto Rican himself. But the point I'm trying to make is that I did not respond to this individual
mm,
because I felt like it would have been pointless. It would make myself look my point look less valid
mm.
because because as someone who is a minority, I understand that I am also half white. But the point I'm trying to make is that sometimes the best way to go about responding is not responding at all because it makes you look bad. Like, I'm not going to respond to this dude, but the only time you should respond to something is if it's a consistent thing and you had, like, but I'm not saying, like, when you respond to it, you should do it in a professional manner. Like, I would be like, look, dude, I'm not, this is kind of getting ridiculous.
Here's the thing. At the end of the day, I did. Let's see what I did. Uh, I I don't I don't fault Terrell Pryor for what he did. He's allowed
I'm
to
not going to, yeah.
be allowed to do what he wants to do as long as he's not breaking any laws. I'm just giving suggestions as like a person,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
someone, as a professional like him, and he's obviously he has to watch himself more than I would because he's in the public spotlight. He's in a situation where if what he says is true, which I have no reason to not believe what he says, uh, he's been called the N word for multiple times a game. You just lost a really emotional football game and you flip the crowd off. So
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
understand where he's coming from. I don't fault him for doing what he does, but as an ethnic minority in this country, and I hope that I don't come off as being racist, but you need to watch yourself more because you are more scrutinized than anybody else.
Oh yeah, dude, I completely agree. Like, I mean, and like, and you as a minority, not, as a
I'm
Jewish
not
minority,
actually I'm just a
you're
religious. I'm a
trigger
religious.
me timbers.
I'm a, I'm,
You
I'm a
trigger
I'm a religious minority now. I'm actually white.
you're white. Well, I'm an ethnic minority. You're a, religious minority, but the point still stands is that you are more in a spotlight to those that are ethnically or that are racist or do not like your kind, if you want to word it that way.
Yeah.
So the problem, so with Terrell Pryor, I'm not surprised that he did it. Like, I don't blame him. But at the same time, you as a professional, I think the best course of action would have been to not do something. Or if you had to say something, release a statement saying, look, this has been going on and I can't take this anymore, guys. I have a certain amount of patience. I mean, and I did that on Facebook too. I mean, after seeing what the guy posted, I posted a quote from Mother Teresa. I personally could care less of the religious implications of the person. It has to deal. It has to deal with the quote, and I live by this every day. People are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you're kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you're honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness and people may be jealous, just be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Just do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough, but give your best anyway. I live by that every day, and look, that is a model that everybody should live off of. Regardless, people for the most part will never change, unfortunately. So the best course of action is sometimes there's nothing else to do but not do anything.
Yeah. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. And I mean, the issue with flipping people off, the only time I ever flip people off, and maybe this is an East Coast thing in me coming out, is when like somebody like honks at me.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm
finger the F you piece of crap, hey asshole, that always comes out when someone honks at me or like does something stupid while driving. Like,
I have and I mean, there's a whole other.
To be honest, East Coast people never blame themselves for.
Yeah, that's kind of like
car issues. It's always someone else's fault.
But I also, and I don't know if we want to get political, but I'm only gonna say I feel so horrible for what has been happening in Las Vegas and what's going on in our country. I just feel like I don't want to get too in depth, and I feel I posted what I'm
gonna say this. We still have time. Let's do it for the next 15 minutes. Let's get political.
Oh, okay. So I want to give you guys. Okay. Well, I want to specify my personal belief, and I want to say that you can disagree with me. It's my personal opinion. I respect your opinion. I'm not talking about you, Hank. I'm talking about everybody as well. Yeah. So this is my personal opinion. I believe in common sense gun control. I believe that those that have mental disabilities or like basically mental issues should not be able to carry a firearm. I believe basic gun control, you have to go through a background check. I believe that all military grade weapons, and what I mean by that, I mean rocket launchers, all that stuff should be banned, which for the most part it is. I don't believe, me personally, I think that you can do best with a pistol. Now, I am not one that says we should. I think if we had to ban assault weapons, I would be fine with it. But my thing is like, look, if people want to, and I mean assault weapons, people want to come like, oh, you're so stupid, you don't know anything. But what I mean by
like an AK-47.
What an AK-47, AR-15, MP-45, etc.
Weapons that members of the military use.
Exactly. So my thing is
that like have that carry like what is it? Which probably carry like I don't even know how much was in a clip, but like more than like 12 bullets or something like that.
Yeah, it depends because each like you can get a different magazine for like any gun. So like you can have a magazine. I know there is a limit in some states, but some like that's the problem with, and that's also an issue with our country is the fact that each state has its own different guidelines of what guns are legal, what guns aren't, what you had to do to get a gun, and that's a huge issue in our nation is the fact that we don't have a universal background check system. And I want to bring up something, and I want to get your opinion on this. I shared this video and I was so distraught at the video because it's undeniably stupid. And I know people that come to me and be like, "Oh, well, gun control doesn't work. This X, Y, Z." So, like with the same logic, then why is murder even illegal? Because people are gonna murder anyway. So why should we have it illegal? That like you know what I mean? People are like that. But getting back to the point of this post that I saw, there's a guy saying, "Oh, gun control experiment. And what the guy does is he lays
Oh,
three guns.
the guy, like the African American guy, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. And I'm explaining it to the people that don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So this is the. So let me explain. There's a guy. There's a an individual that has three guns on the table. He has a he has two pistols and an automatic rifle.
Mhm.
Okay. So what he does is, okay, I'm gonna do a gun control, and he's yelling at the guns to stop firing or do something or fire or shoot or whatever. And of course, it's not gonna work because obviously guns are not self-aware, so they don't fire. So
Actually,
what I said,
a gun could fire on its own.
all right, shut up, Hank.
If
No,
it
but
drops on
this
the
is
ground, it could still
stop.
a gun could still fire or misfire.
Oh my gosh, shut up. Anyhow, you know what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding.
But so no dull guns can't fire by themselves. Obviously, there are some times where they accidentally fire.
Yeah,
But I've heard people call them, oh, they're tools, they're utensils. They're not because they don't fix things. Tools or utensils are stuff like screwdrivers, wrenches, whatever. These things have lethal capabilities, and people need to treat them as such. So the thing about the right to bear arms is it's not just your right, my right, someone else's right or whatever. It's also the right, unfortunately, of some people that aren't right in the head. So and it's not about freedom at this point anymore. It's about safety for people. And since 2007, six of the deadliest shootings and six of the like six of the deadliest shootings in U.S. history have taken place.
yeah.
And yeah.
I will say this. The reason why, I mean, obviously the gun control debate is going to come up, but I don't think that this is the best example for it to come out because he did get the guns. Like, this wasn't a bad sale, This was an instance where he got them illegally. Like, he got military weapons illegally, which, that's an issue. But at the same time, we do need to have the conversation of we need to control we need to have like a system of like responsible people who get them. And every time you say something like that, oh, you're trying to ban guns. Oh, you're trying to take away my gun. You're trying to take away from me. I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're responsible, then that's great. I totally respect that. And I don't wish for your gun to get taken away. I don't wish for any politician to have your gun taken away. What I do wish is for them to, I mean, these people aren't allowed to go on airplanes, but they're allowed to have guns. Like, people who have obvious mental issues, like obvious, like we can see mental issues, and they get sold guns. And the NRA is always playing damage control. I hate the NRA more than I hate guns.
Oh yeah.
I hate the NRA more than I hate these attacks because they basically excuse it and say we need more people to have guns so that people can stop. Good people with guns always stop people who have a gun. And
that can make something completely worse.
Not true, because if you remember, there was an Oregon Community College shooting back in like 2015, like September.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And the biggest thing was, I think like 8 people died and it's like 16 people were injured or something like that. And they were like, the reason why this happened was because it was a gun-free zone, which wasn't a gun-free zone because people were concealed carrying on campus. The reason why they didn't intervene was because they weren't sure if like the police were called. They weren't sure if like they thought that there was more than one shooter. They had no idea. So that's why they didn't intervene. Like, people think that John McClane is going to be there and he's just going to like completely take control and destroy the terrorists and take them out. There was also a situation in Texas where a guy was getting carjacked. And instead of Well, there was a responsible person with a gun there, and the guy accidentally shot the victim in the head. And what he did was the carjackers got away. He didn't even call 911. He picked up the clips and the cartridges or the casings, and he walked away. Like, you can't make that stuff up. And it's like, again, I'm not calling for your guns to be taken away. And I understand that a lot of the statistics when it comes to deaths by guns is a lot of it is like people don't put into consideration that a lot of them are suicide, like people shooting themselves. Like a high percentage of it is people shooting themselves with guns, but it's just like you can't have this conversation with people because they'll immediately be like, "Oh, you're trying to ban our guns," which I don't want to ban your guns because I'm hoping that you are a responsible person. But I also think it's hilarious that they want abortions to be banned. They want gay marriage to be banned, but they don't ban like guns. To be honest, they're only their what is it? Their purpose is to kill people or is for killing. That's their only purpose.
What's funny?
And for sport, target practice, but yeah.
I'm not sure how. Hold up, give me a sec. You know what I think's funny? With the whole gay marriage thing, it's funny because people you could have incest happen.
Yeah.
Right. And that's perfectly fine. But when two dudes or two women want to get married, it's like, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
What a travesty. I just think that was fun. But going back to the whole thing with guns, people completely misconcept. When people hear gun control, they immediately think of prohibition of guns. That is not what gun control is. Gun control, well, you could argue whatever. When people refer to gun control, they mean common sense background checks and other things to prevent mass shootings happen in so much of a constant basis. Now, if you look in New Jersey, obviously, they have the little shootings going on. That always is going to happen. But New Jersey has not really had a big mass shooting.
Yeah.
And, I don't even know when was the last time we've had a big mass shooting. And they have one of the strictest gun laws in the entire nation. And it's nothing crazy either. And yes, I will understand, yes, New Jersey has its own culture and whatever. And it's a completely, obviously, the culture also takes into factor in terms of how people react and what they do. But at the end of the day, I think it's time that we start actually passing stuff. So, because I think what really irks me is then people come up to me that are against gun control and they'd be like, oh, well, this stuff is going to happen anyway. I mean, so let's not do anything. So yeah. I tell people. So
yeah, go on.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is that if you sincerely think that if you sincerely think, well, this stuff's going to happen anyway, so what's the point in banning guns? I mean, it doesn't work. Okay, so then what's the point in having a police force if crime's going to happen anyway?
Yeah.
It's the same logic. I mean, that's my problem.
It's also the thing of bad people are always going to find a way to get it. Gun control doesn't work. Well, it worked in Australia. It works in Japan. But I'm not saying that that those countries' guns are completely banned.
Oh yeah.
There's a big difference, especially not in places like Japan, because in Japan, citizens don't have the rights we have in the United States. I'm guessing because of World War II. But it's kind of ridiculous to me because it's just you bringing up a point about, they're saying that it doesn't work. Well, it does work in those countries. The issue is that in the United States, I don't think gun control not gun control, but I don't think banning guns or a buyback of guns would ever work because we as Americans, we are so paranoid about the person who lives in that. We don't trust people. You know, we're not.
We're such a, and I don't want to say this in a bad way, but we're such an an individualistic culture to this
Yeah,
whole idea where I want to do what can I do what's best for me.
yeah,
I personally have the belief that I want to do what's best for everybody, whether that be
yeah.
instilling single payer healthcare, free college tuition, whatever. Unfortunately, some people still have this mentality where in America, you should rely only on yourself and not the help of other people, which you could argue is a good thing or a bad thing. In my opinion, you could say it's both.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's just kind of sad how like sometimes people don't really, you
Yeah.
know, they kind of just don't understand the nuances of like when you go into a debate, right? And I love debating people. I mean, obviously, I'm not. My job is just, I'm going to offer you my perspective. And unfortunately, in some debates, this is rhetorical. Like if you talk about an evolutionist versus creationist argument, I think that at that point, like you can't. And that's a completely different topic, and it's like you can't really present that as an option. But anyhow,
I
getting
don't.
back to what I was saying,
I'd rather bring up gun control than bring up religion.
evolution is not a thing. No, I'm playing. Um,
I think that it's possible that there could be a God and evolution.
I think that, well, I mean, I'm kind of just indifferent. I kind of accept any. If you show me evidence, I'll believe it. But until otherwise, I'm kind of just complacent.
I also think it's funny when people say like, "Oh, it says that we came from monkeys," and it's
Checkmate, atheists.
no because we came from monkeys and people and Homo sapiens came from a common ancestor. Like
Yeah,
if
I mean, yeah,
people want to say if people want to say that some form of evolution and natural selection doesn't exist, you have to. I mean, I mean, then there wouldn't be different species of turtles. You know, there
I
would,
think yeah,
there wouldn't be different species of dogs because humans escalated evolution by domesticating animals. Like,
it's animal abuse.
all right,
I had to be a smart aleck.
all right. So,
Um,
do we have
I
anything
can.
else that we want to? Do you want to?
Yeah.
Do we briefly touch on uh tomorrow's or our teams tomorrow before we?
Oh yeah, sure, no problem. You want to go first, or wait, which game's first? Your game or the Cowboys game?
I think my game first.
All right, you go first.
So we are playing the Arizona Cardinals. This is one type of game that I hate because I hate playing the Cardinals because we suck against the Cardinals. We rarely ever beat them. I know the Dallas Cowboys fans can uh I mean you guys sucked against the Cardinals for a while too. I mean
Hey,
you would lose to like did you guys lose? We lost to John Skelton too. Did you guys lose to John Skelton?
did we? I don't. Hold on, I don't even know.
Or Kevin Cobb. I don't know which one. But
I think we lost to Kevin Cobb. Kevin Cobb, not
okay.
Skelton.
We lost to John Skelton. So Larry Fitzgerald is a freaking beast. He is probably one of the best wide receivers. He's kind of like the Barry Sanders of like the current era because he's always been a really good player. He's always been the best player on the Arizona Cardinals, but he's never been able to make it. I mean, they made it to the Super Bowl. They almost won, but he's not been able to make it as far as he should have made it, you know?
Yeah.
And he's really one of my only worries because David Johnson isn't playing. Our secondary is very weak. We are down. Sidney Jones is still on injured reserve. Ronald Darby is out. Fletcher Cox is not going to come back until he's not going to come back till the Redskins. Him and Darby are probably not going to come back till the Redskins game. But this is a situation where you're expecting the Eagles to have a letdown. They had two really emotional finishes. One where your rookie kicker kicked 61-yard field goal to win the game. Another one where, in typical Eagles fashion, you would expect that with 6 minutes and 22 seconds to go, you would end up punting the ball back to the other team, and they would end up kicking a field goal or scoring a touchdown to win. and they beat but they did a long drive where they beat the LA Chargers by 2 points. I picked the Eagles to win this game before the season even started, just because it was a home game and because I was trying to work out like a 9-7 kind of record thing. But the key is stopping Larry Fitzgerald from scoring touchdowns, and the key is running the ball consistently on offense, not straying away from the running game, because I know we're not going to have a lot of success running the ball because the Arizona Cardinals have one of the best rush defenses in the NFL. Also, I mean, they're missing a lot of pass rushers. Their offensive line is weak. The Eagles have no excuse for not getting to Carson Palmer and knocking him down. So I think it's going to be another. I think it's going to be another tough win in the sense of it's going to be like a one possession, less than a touchdown.
And I want to ask you, if the Eagles lose, would you be surprised?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, I was going to say, like,
I would expect the Eagles to lose because it's a trap game against a team they suck against. Historically, I would not be surprised if the Eagles lost this game at all.
Okay.
Those are the Cardinals are kryptonite. But I'm hoping I'm hoping that we have a good defensive strategy when it comes to not allowing Larry Fitzgerald to get the ball, because he's an absolute ball hawk. His finger will touch the ball, and he'll. I mean, you saw in the Cowboys Cardinals game.
Oh yeah,
finger touches the ball, he will catch it. He will find a way.
He's a beast.
Carson Palmer, and on offense, we can't stray away from the run, because if we do, then we're gonna become extremely predictable, and their defensive backfield, inversely to the Eagles, is amazing.
Okay, so let's move on to the Cowboys game really quick so we can end this up.
Yeah.
So the Cowboys. Okay, hold up. I'm gonna flip a coin. Okay. So because this is in essence this is a flip coin game, like, and I picked Green Bay initially. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna flip a coin. Let's see what happens.
Do you think Tyron Smith and Sean Lee are playing?
I don't know, actually. Let me check.
Well, because Kelly told me that Jerry Jones came out and said that they were gonna play. So I was like, the opposite is going to happen, because I never believe anything Jerry Jones.
Yeah, now at this point, just assume that if he says that.
Jerry Jones was the guy who, when Tony Romo had a herniated disc, or had a herniated disc in his back, he was like he's definitely going to play, and then on Saturday he was on injured reserve.
Yeah, I mean, but okay, so I just flipped the coin, and it was heads for Green Bay, tails for Dallas, and Dallas won the toss, and they elected to receive. No, I'm just joking. No, but I'm gonna go with Dallas. I'm gonna change my pick to Dallas now, and I want to explain why. Now, a lot of people are saying, now, me personally, I think when you look at the Cowboys, they are due for a breakout game, and you could be like, oh, well, the breakout game was against the Rams. Well, hold up, let me explain by that. What I mean by breakout game, I think the Cowboys defense has been specifically designed to handle Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not saying that it will neutralize him, okay? Like, I'm not trying to immediately, say that, but the Cowboys have the perfect blueprint to defeat the Green Bay Packers. The question is can they, perform them? And this is a must-win game for the Cowboys, so I wouldn't be surprised if they played phenomenally well, because if you're the Cowboys, you cannot go into the bye week below 500, because then that puts you at much of a detriment. And if Philly's 3-1, right?
No matter what happens in this game, we're still first place.
Shut up, Hank. Don't ruin my dreams. But like, even though you're still in first place, this is extremely important in the long run for Dallas, because let's just assume that the Eagles win on Monday. They win on Sunday and they go to 4-1. If Dallas drops to 2-3, it's so much harder for them to catch up with the Eagles. But if the Eagles, let's say the Eagles lose and the Dallas Cowboys win, yeah, the Eagles would still be in first because of the divisional record.
Yeah.
But they would be tied and they would still be on pace with Philly. And you know what I think is also crazy is the fact that, and I think this is a blessing for the Cowboys, is that they haven't played a lot of divisional opponents early on in the season.
Yeah.
I mean, because the way they've been playing, they could have easily had lost to Washington or Philadelphia. But and again, this team, I feel like the Cowboys are going to be just like the Patriots. They're going to bounce back. They're going to just, it might not be as a mighty win, but it might end up being I don't know, a touchdown win, 4.3-point win. So I wouldn't be surprised at this. So the Cowboys all got to do run the ball and put pressure on Aaron Rodgers. And considering the fact that Aaron Rodgers is most likely going to be the focal point of, he's the quarterback, so obviously. But what I mean by that is they're going to rely on Aaron Rodgers to air the ball out. And if you're the Cowboys, play man-to-man as much as possible. Because the problem with zone coverage against Aaron Rodgers is because if you give him time, he will find an open receiver. So you have to play man-to-man and hope that you eventually sack him. And I think that the Cowboys defense getting David Irving back, having Marcus Lawrence, that's going to be tough for Green Bay's offensive line. And I'm not trying to underrate them, but I just don't think they can handle that pass rush of the Cowboys. And I'm not trying to say the Cowboys are a phenomenal defense, but considering that the breakout of DeMarcus Lawrence, I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers, and considering they gave up 4 sacks a game, that's up to 15 sacks now in the season for the Green Bay, I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers got sacked 2-3 times in the game.
Maybe.
So yeah, I mean,
against the Eagles, never getting sacked, but
no, but in essence, that's
Aaron
my thing.
His best games against us. I think his quarterback rating is 158 points for his pass.
Arizona's gonna score 42 on you. Now I'm playing. No, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a shootout either. So I'm gonna pick the Cowboys to win by 3. So it's gonna be a close one. But I think that since the Cowboys are at home,
regardless, it's gonna be a close one for both teams.
Yeah, and I mean, and I did mention this in the season, you're gonna play a lot of majority one possession games. You either win them all, lose, or you're either majority win, majority loss, and then you lose all of them.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys last year were an example of them winning all of them for the most part.
Besides
this year could be
besides the 2 Giants games, really.
All right, shut up. We don't talk about that. No, but yeah, that's my whole thing on the Cowboys. I don't want to get too caught up, but yeah.
All right, so this was our little 3rd episode of Here's the Thing at the end of the day. I hope everyone enjoyed. And I think we're going to be back on Wednesday with the normal shindig.
Yeet.
All right, so everybody, I hope you guys have a good day. And Yo Daddy, I hope you briefly touched yourself today. Peace.